Hey, what's up? Okay, so today I am doing a job for a client that wants a custom curtain screen. Now, in this picture, this was provided to us by the customer. They want us to produce this, so the only thing that we're not going to do is we're not making these stars here and here, and then they have this rod or some type of flat bar going along the curtain screen mesh here. This is the opening here. We are not going to do this for the customer, but what we are going to do is produce I mean, this thing, if you look at it, it looks like a bathroom curtain screen, you know, for the tub. It has a rod going across. There was no dimensions provided for these hardware pieces, so we're kind of winging it, and we're thinking, you know, I'm pretty good at telling what size materials they are. So I'm gonna go with either a 3/4 tube or a 7/8 tube. So the other thing we're not going to do is also do the ends here. Uh, there's some kind of cap at the end, like a ball cap here. We're not doing that either. We're gonna kind of do a whole different take on this, a little bit differently. We're gonna make these wall plates over here with a U-shape hook for the tube to sit inside. And then on one side, we're gonna do an insert where the tube is gonna go inside of another piece of tube here. I'll show you that in a minute, what it looks like. That was already produced. But the video is mainly about how to make the rings for the curtain screens. So we have here a whole bunch, and we have two pieces of curtain mesh that I need to cut from a row. So we're not doing any of this stuff. What I do want to show you is how to make these rings yourself. They're pretty easy to make. You can buy them online, and I was trying to get these online so I don't have to produce them, but I found that a lot of them were cast, and that would not work for us because we need to be able to open those rings up so we can hook it into the mesh coil. And so I had to make them out of a wire. So here I have this is about 3/16 kind of I don't know if you can see it there. So yeah, that's about 3/16. I didn't mic it or measure it or anything like that. It's really not necessary because this will go through the mesh. I tested it already. Now I also wanted to show you that I've made some already, these rings. So I have them right here that I've made from a long piece of this coil here, rod. You know, it's on a big gigantic coil, and I'll show it to you right now. If you can see over there hanging, that's the gigantic coil that I have, and I cut a small piece of it. I don't know, about 6 feet worth of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you exactly how to make these. They're very easy, not hard at all. And originally, when I went with a 3/4 tube for this, I thought that maybe a 1.5 stock bar to turn it around on top of, like this here. This is pretty much where I did it. So this one here is 1 1/8 about, and the previous one that I used was like 1.5. So these that I made right here came out a little too big. So let me put this down for a second and show you. So if you see that, so yeah, it's 1.5 on the inside diameter. So that didn't work out because the tube, this is the size tube right here. This is a 3/4 tube. So when you put it on, you can see that there's too much space at the bottom of this thing. it's too much hang, and that was not good because the coiled mesh that's gonna get hooked onto this, there's too much space between the tube and the coiled mesh that's gonna get inserted this into. So I came up with another one, the one that I just showed you, which is the bar is 1 1/8 about. So I have here a smaller piece, and if you put that there, we're gonna get, yeah, about 1 1/8, more or less. You know, it's still a little open. You can close them down a little bit, and so that's what we need to produce. And so as you can see, I have already a few of them here, and I have more over here. These, okay. So none of these were good for me. It was just too much. And so let me just show you on one the kind of spacing you get. Now you see that it's a little better now. So you can see that there. So yeah, it's a lot shorter now. You got less space for the hang, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the 1 1/8 stock bar right here that I made. Okay, and I'm going to show you something about that and how I was able to coil this around with heat. I'm going to use a combination acetylene oxygen tank to create heat so these can conform around the bar. And the first thing that I want to show you is about this is, so I had a length of this and I didn't need so much. So what I did was I cut approximately 8 inches of it, and then I drilled a hole right at the top here. And that's where the beginning of the rod is gonna go. And we're gonna stick it in there. I don't have one right now, but we're gonna get to that soon. We're gonna put the rod inside the hole. It's about maybe almost halfway all the way inside, but not going all the way through to the other side. So it's a blind hole. And we're gonna hook the rod straight down in, we're gonna heat it, and then we're gonna bend it all the way over like this, and then we're gonna start the coiling like that. And we're gonna only do in short pieces, so we may have to do this multiple times. So yeah, I have all these available here that I don't need. So I'm gonna put these to the side. They're no good. But I do have 4 good ones. Now, you're gonna see that when I get, I'm gonna take this right here and I'm gonna cut it around maybe 20 inches long. And then the thing is that when you have the coil and you make the cut all the way in, the coil is gonna look like a spring. And I'm gonna put it on a bandsaw. I'm gonna put it on the bandsaw here. The height is about right, because once it's coiled down and tight, I'm gonna put it like right here, and I'm gonna split right down the middle, and that's gonna cut them down individually in one shot. So as you can see that they're a little still twisted. Well, I kind of opened this one, but they're gonna come out looking more closer to this, like that when you're done with it, or maybe a little more open, like that one. And to get them closed, all you got to do is twist them sideways. So you take it, and to close up that gap, it's very easy. Now you could just twist them like this, and they're soft because they're annealed. Now you see they're pretty much closed. And then once you clean it up, you won't even see it, especially on the back side of this. You can put the seam where it's hidden. And this is all gonna be colored with an antique solution. They want a dark finish, like a bronze. So I'm gonna get these all cleaned up, and we're gonna get them down to its mill finish, and then use a chemical to darken them up. And that'll be our final product. So let's get started and see what's gonna happen here, okay? Okay, so let's get prepared, do a little preparation on what we're gonna need. So what we want to do is take this blank piece here, which is the big coil. You can see it goes, oh, it's big long coil. Anyway, so I'm gonna cut, let's just stretch this out a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna say maybe 20 inches, like I think I mentioned that before. So I'm gonna cut right around, oops. I'm gonna cut it right around here. And snap that off. Okay, so there you go. We got a nice little piece here. Let's do some more of that. Cut this one. Yeah, this is probably half of it. So let's cut that. There you go. So now we have 3 pieces we can work with here. Okay. There you go. So now the next thing we want to do is get our torch turned on. Let's turn this on. Oh, look, I'm running out of gas. I got about, I would say 20 pounds or less there, about 25 pounds. That might get me by. I think I can use enough there. I don't need a lot of heat because the coil gets hot very fast. So we'll be good. So let's keep going. All right, so we have our 3 pieces right here we're gonna work. We already have 4 small pieces already here. And these are no good. Now let me see this one. Yeah, this one looks okay. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, so we got 2 bad ones. These are no good because these are the ends. When you cut it, this is what you end up with. And you can't close them because they're no longer the same size anymore. These will be smaller, so we don't want these. These are scrap. I'm gonna put those to the side. But we got 5 good pieces here. Okay, so let's put that to the side. And now, let me set the camera up for the next step. For here. Okay, so the other thing you're gonna need is probably pair it with these vice grips. Is this for the end, so you can grab it like this at the end, because it's gonna pretty much get all hot once you start going around this thing, coiling it. So we're gonna get this thing prepared right about. Make sure it's good enough. Let's go a little tighter. I think it's still a little loose. Just give it a little turn. And we're not going to use it like right now. Okay, that should be tight. Okay, so we're going to put that right over here so it's available to me when I'm ready to use it. It'll probably come into the picture right around when I get around here, maybe about near 8 inches, so I can grab it because it's going to be pretty warm over here and I don't want to get burned. Okay, so let me get my torch. All right, right now I have a number 3 tip on here. You don't need a lot of heat. So we're going to get this thing started. There you go. That's pretty much okay right there. You don't need that much. And I probably won't even have it that close to the piece here. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna heat up this end first right here. Get that warmed up because I want that to be soft, so when I have it here, it can bend right over the rod. Okay, that should be good. So now I'm gonna stick it in there. And that's what's gonna hold, this is gonna hold the wire from popping out because I did it deep enough. So here we go. So I'm gonna go right down to the base right there. And again, you know what? I'm gonna lower it a little bit more. It's still a little hot. Let me turn that down a little bit. How about that? Okay. I can always pull back if I want to. And I can get a little more heat by getting close. And remember, if you're not a person who knows how to use a torch, remember that the hottest point of the tip here is right there, not here, this extra flame on the outside. That blue area is hot, but the white flame here at the very tip, like the pencil, is the hottest point of this torch right now, no matter how much flow I'm getting out of here. That is the hottest, not this here. Blue is hot, but white is hotter. So I'm gonna put it right there, right at the tip, and that's gonna get it soft for me. So now I'm gonna start bending it down, and there you go. See how simple that, easy and soft that is right now? So I'm gonna pull back because it's starting to get a little red, and I'm gonna wiggle it so I can get a nice tight fit right there. I'm pulling on it too. I'm hoping that I don't snap it. When it's too hot, you can break these wires. Okay, that's pretty good. I don't need all that because that's all gonna be remnants anyway. So now, here we go. Now I'm gonna start to go and coil it around. So I'm backing off my heat. I don't need that much heat. And you wanna get the coil tight to each other as you turn on top of this rod. And you want to also pull the stem because the stem will make it a nice fit around the rod. And I'm also heating up about an inch, inch and a half past the point that it's actually making contact with the rod. So I'm pulling on it at the same time. And I'm not using a lot of heat because I don't want this thing to snap on me or break or melt. So here's my first one coming through. Okay, now we're gonna get up to the other side. I'm gonna be switching hands here because I have a torch in one hand and the stem on the other hand. So depending on which way I'm rotating here, you wanna, switch it up a little bit. And make sure you got it warm enough or hot enough that it's gonna conform around this rod. And keep it tight. Pull on it too. You wanna pull the stem. That'll get you to sit it right tight to the rod. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch hands. See, I'm just gonna keep repeating this until I finish the whole rod out. It's coming out quite nicely so far. No issues. As long as I'm pulling on the rod towards me, I'm gonna get a nice fit around this rod. And I'm not sure, but I think the rod is half hard brass. That's pretty much standard for a lot of brass stock stuff. Okay. You could do this with steel if you want. But the only thing, if you're looking for spring action, you're not going to get that because heat takes away memory from the metal. So you're not going to get a spring action out of these things. This is not meant for that. Okay, we're getting shorter on the stem, and I'm about to put my mini vice grips on it. I don't feel it warm yet on my end here where I'm grabbing it at the tail end of it. Maybe I can go another turn before I start using it. Now, you know what would be so cool? If you can do this with some type of rotating machine where it's really slow and you can do this by holding just one end and letting the arbor of wherever it's attached to, like some type of drill or something, but I don't really have the means to do that because this rod is really it's 1 1/8, so it's not, you're not going to be a lathe might be able to hold it, but I opted not to do that because I don't want to put heat on my tools on a lathe, especially the chuck on a lathe. So I'm hand doing this. This is what custom work is about. You're making stuff. It's custom. So when the customer asks, oh, how did you make those? Oh, well, I handmade it. I didn't do it. It's not machined. Okay, I'm starting to feel the heat now. So now I'm gonna grab the end right here, like that. And now my hands are not gonna get burned up. And as you can see that I'm using the far end of the torch flame, because at the tip there, at the white tip, it's hot as hell. So I don't need that, because again, this material is only 3/16, and I don't want to melt it, and I want to get a good, I don't want to have to repeat myself doing this. So far so good. I don't know if you can see how tight it looks on the camera. I try to give you a good point of view from where it's sitting. And just remember, keep pulling on the stem, because that's how you want to get it tight around the rod and coil it. Okay, we're getting there. Now the end tip here, how I'm going to finish it off is with a hammer. Okay, so I'm going to take it off. I think that's good enough. And now I'm going to get my hammer. I'm going to finish off the coil. See, so now I can warm this up here. There you go. That got a little cherry red there, started to glow. More. Now I'm not worried about when, the hammer marks on this tail end here, because about almost an entire roll of this side is going to get cut off once I separate these. And now here's the other thing, getting that off, because now I want to slide this out this way. I want to slide this way, but I got a problem. I got this stem inside here in the hole, and I can't get it off, right? Well, we're gonna fix that. What I'm gonna use is a very tight, sharp chisel, and I'm gonna cut that by hitting it. I'm gonna cut it right about here. Now it's hot, so it's gonna cut right through. There you go. Let's get that little guy out of there. Get a welding wrench. And there you go. There's the little stem that was inside the hole right now. And I'm gonna pull that out. I'm gonna just cool it down in the water and toss it. That's no good anymore. Okay, so let me get this back up. Hitting it with the chisel. There you go. Okay, now to slide that off, I'm gonna use these bigger adjustable wrench here, and I'm gonna just hit it until it comes right off. Now it's gonna pop on the floor, and I'm gonna have to, there you go. And I'll pick it up and cool it down. Hey, look at that. Okay, so that's hot. I can feel the heat coming off it still. So I'm gonna put it in water and cool it down. Yeah. Got a bucket of water right here. And that should be nice and cool. Okay. And what I'm gonna do now is use an air compressor to dry it off. Look how nice that looks. Looks very nice. See the coils compressed over here, came up a little bit, but we could hammer that down and make it look nice. So now the next step is we're gonna slice it straight through in one shot, and we're gonna get a bunch of rings out of it. So let's set up for the other side. Okay, so here's our coil, and we want the adjustment for the bandsaw to be, you know, just above it. We want to get that a little bit tighter. We're going to drop it down a little bit like that, and that should do it, because you always want your bandsaw guide or the adjuster to be always close to your material wherever you're cutting. You don't want this thing high up, because the blade bends. It starts to move sideways on you, and then you're not going to get a straight cut. So the lower this is to your material, the straighter your cut is going to be. Okay, so let me get my glasses. Make sure you wear your safety glasses, because you're going to get little flying chips from the metal up into your eyes, and you don't want that. So now the other question here is, where's the best part to cut it? Do we cut it where the stem ends on both here, right down the middle? To tell you the truth, I really don't know that really matters, because again, this piece here is going to fall off, this piece is going to fall off, and you have the middle pieces that you're going to use as your the good pieces. The outside pieces are never good. They never work out. So let's see. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna cut it right down there where the center, where the two ends is, right there, like that. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's turn it on. Now you have to be careful when you're hand holding stuff like this, because this is all gonna separate, and you don't want this thing flying up and hitting you in the hands, or your hand going in there. So you gotta be very careful. I'm gonna start off with this, and this has a, from so many cuts, it ended up with like a U from pushing into the blade. So I'm gonna use the same thing. So I'm gonna face this like that. Right there, that's about good. And this is gonna help me push into it. And it may want to get a little violent on me, but I'm gonna hold it as best I can. Now I've done this several times and I haven't had no issues yet. So make sure that you got it held down very well. That way there's no bouncing around and it hits your knuckles or your fingers or whatever. All right, so let's push in on it slowly. You don't have to push hard, just go slow, take your time. And important, I keep both my hands and my fingers outside of the blade, so in case that it pushes through too fast and my fingers can end up in front of the blade. But in this case, it shouldn't happen. There we go, we're almost through. I think my blade is a little dull. There you go. Went right through. Nice and easy, took my time, and it didn't just like fall in there, and you know, because these teeth can grab the material and bounce it around, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so here are our pieces right now, and this one's a good one. It's got a little nick there, but we can sand a little bit that out, and you see what you get from the coil. One is to one side, one's to the other side on the tail ends here. And all you got to do is, if you want to close it, just twist it. See? Now you got a closed ring. Simple as that. Okay, so now I said there were some bad ones, so let's see what they are. They all seem to be okay. You know what? I had done this and I didn't cut it in the same spot from before on my previous coils. And I had a lot of them that were just too short, like it was missing a whole ½ inch on one side, and those I had to toss. But hold on a second. Yeah, here's one right here. You see, it's missing a whole section right here, and that's why these were no good. But I think the secret is do what I did on the bandsaw. Cut it dead center where the two tails are like this, and cut right down the center on both of them, and then you'll end up with some good pieces. And I seem to have salvaged the two ends. We're good. Okay, so we have this guy right here. Let's see if we can clean up some of the burr on the ends here. It's going to be a little hard. A little tedious because you can't get in there really. Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let me see if I got a half round over here. There you go. Here's a half round file. And there you go. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Now the final thing is going to be that I'm going to clean all this up and get that mill brass finish on there. And oh, here, let's look at something here. Notice that the it's not totally flat around. You can fix that. You know, we can do this. And we can kind of see if how's that doing there. This is not really that flat. Okay, so we're gonna hit right here and just keep flipping it and see if you can get it to sit flat. So that's not bad. Okay, and you know, don't get so critical about it, because one, this is a ring that's going to go around a round bar, and you won't even be able to tell once it has a finish on it that it's a little off. But it's pretty good. Like, it's right here, it's just a little off. So I'm going to hit that side a little bit. Let's see, keep looking at it. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, a little bit right there. That's a little high spot right here. It looks like it's taking a... Okay. I think that's pretty good. I like it. I think we'll stick with that. And look at it. See that? It's pretty smooth on the outside, so that means it's fine. And then the inside here, it feels good too. It's pretty even. Now, a little advice is, don't open it like this. Don't open it out like that, because what you're going to end up doing is taking the shape out of the circle. What you do is you twist it open. That way it's like this. This is the way you want to put it on wherever you're going. You can slip right between the two. You can open it as much as you want. The more open you need, just keep doing that. Open that gap. But don't ever open it this way. You're going to lose the circular shape, and you don't want that. The other thing that I want to say is that if you find that once you start closing it up like this, and you have it like that, and there's still a little gap right there because it's slightly off, the trick to that is, let me bring it back. Let me take this one. The trick to that is, all you need is to squeeze it down like this and let it bypass each other for a moment like that. Just bypass it just a little bit, just a little squeeze. That's a lot of squeeze right there. Now you see what happened there? It kind of like went too much. And you see it got kind of oval. I did that too much because I think the teeth of the of the tool slipped on it. So I'm gonna open this back up. There you go. See, so now I'm gonna twist it back like this and see what I got. Yep, okay, there you go. Now you see the gap is now tight. Now here's a little bit of a lift, so I'm gonna hit it right there. And there you go, look at that, nice and smooth. There you go, nice and smooth. Let me get that a little bit more. There you go. Now look how tight that is. Very, very tight. Look at that. Okay. And then you can take your file and get that burrs in there with a half round. And then you get the outside. And you got a nice clean ring. Look at that. And now it's ready for finish. This is done. Okay, well, I hope this helped you out. If you want to make custom rings, you can do them yourself. You don't have to buy them. And like I said before, the ones you get on the internet or online, they're casted. And the problem with those are, if you need to open it and twist it or whatever, they will break on you because cast does not really give. I mean, you could use a little heat to open them up a little bit. But that's pretty much you're gonna get. You're not gonna get so much out of it. They're very hard. They're usually reserved for handbags and stuff like that. But these are machinable, workable piece. And you can do a lot of things with it. I don't know what applications besides handbags and anything that's leather related. But this is it. I'm using this for a whole different purpose. As you saw in the beginning of the video, it's a curtain screen for a fireplace. And they want it to look sort of like a shower curtain type. In our company here, we do not do that. This is a special request by the customer. And so I still got to make about, I'm going to say 20 pieces because their fireplace is somewhere around 48 inches wide by a certain height. And I'm going to need quite a few of these at about 3 inches apart on the coiled mesh, because it's going to do this when it's on the rod. So, you know, that's their thing. They're the ones that's going to control all that. We're just making it for them. Anyway, I hope this helped you guys out in making custom rings. Thanks for watching.